So today we are making the Spider-Man PS4 mask slash helmet. And plus, this is like one of the cooler masks I have made throughout my entire Spider-Man series on this video. And as you guys know, I have made a lot of Spider-Man masks in the past. It is fair to say that this one is able to fit my entire head. So in fact, let's get into the whole tutorial right now. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button and smash that subscribe button. And turn on all those bell notifications. So I'll see you in the next video. So basically you would want to fold both of those poster board pieces. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to be making the Spider-Man PS4 web shooter from Spider-Man PS4. So this web shooter is really easy to make. And if you watch some of my past tutorials, you guys know that I have made many web shooters in the past. Matter of fact, let's just get into the whole tutorial right now. So basically, I have a free template in the description box below to where you can find the template. Plus, I know this template looks like Sean's Crafts template, but when I was Googling a template, this template showed up. So I have the link in the description box below to the PDF of this I created. So basically, when you're making and drawing the piece onto the material you're using, you would want to cut out the shape of the piece. So right now, I'm cutting out shape number 1. And I'm also cutting out piece 2. So basically, this time we're going to be drawing the piece onto the poster board. So this time, we are drawing out the template piece onto poster boards this time. So now, we are cutting out the first piece with my craft knife. So now I am cutting out piece number 2. So basically you want to duplicate piece number 2. So basically what I mean by duplicate, it means that there's 2 sides that you should glue piece number 2 on. So here are both pieces of number 2 now. So basically on piece number 2 there's lines that I drew right here. So basically for the lines, you want to take your craft knife and score them like this. Like what scoring is that you're cutting halfway. You're not cutting all the way through, you're just cutting halfway. So basically you would want to fold both of those poster board pieces. So now with some super glue, it would be a great time to glue these 2 pieces on to the base of the web shooter. So now I have piece number 3 cutting out. So now we are going to be tracing piece number 3 onto poster board. So now that we have that piece traced on, I am going to be cutting that piece out with my craft knife. So now here is the whole entire piece cutting out. So if you're wondering how I got that hole in the middle, I just use a pair of scissors to cut the hole out. Like, you can use a hole puncher or a craft knife or whatever you have that can make a hole. So now with some red acrylic paint, I am going to be painting the whole piece red. So now we're basically going to be moving on to piece number 4. So for piece number 4, we don't need to transfer it to poster boards. We're just going to be using the paper itself. So basically what we're going to do is we're taking a spring, the spring that we're going to be using in this video for the bullet, and we're going to wrap the paper around the spring. So basically why I'm doing that is basically when you wrap around paper around the spring, it will help the spring so that way it can slide through clearly. And basically you don't want it being like too small, because that will lead to the spring not sliding through. So see this? The spring is sliding through clearly. So now we are gluing the barrel shut. So now what I'm doing is So now on the back of the web shooter, I have added on this ring that I made out of poster board. And now I have just drenched this ring in super glue. So now I have glue on a piece that goes right here. So now we are going to be painting the barrel silver. Okay, so now I have slid the barrel through that hole in the front of the web shooter base. So now I am going to be applying a lot of super glue onto this barrel right here. So right now I am making a popsicle stick piece. So this popsicle stick piece is basically what is going to allow the bullet and string shoot out of the web shooter. And this popsicle stick piece locks the bullet in place before I'm ready to shoot. So basically I'm carving out 2 holes with my craft knife. So basically there's one hole right here and one hole right over here. So make sure you have a really sharp knife when doing this. So to cut this piece out, you basically want to do this with your craft knife. You basically want to score 2 times like this, and then 2 times on the side like this, then 2 to 3 times on the back, and then it should snap off like this. So now I'm going to be taking some fishing line and I'm going to slot both ends through both of my holes. So basically I'm going to bring the fishing line through like this. Now, I am super gluing the fishing line onto the popsicle stick. So now, through the hole in the web shooter, I'm going to slot both ends of the fishing line through the hole. So basically, when I'll be ready to launch, I will be pulling down like this, and the bullet would release. Forgot to show it, but I did add a rolled up piece of paper, and I cut off half of it so that way the popsicle stick piece can lower down and then go back up when I'm ready to launch the weapon. So let's set this piece aside and come back to it later. So now I've cut out piece number 11, and basically this piece will be making a bullet, the bullet piece. So now I have a popsicle stick, and I'm basically going to be rolling it up really tight, so that way the spring can fit on the bullet well. Now my wind skewer is all wrapped around in the paper, and when I played in the paper skewer in the spring, it fits well. So now I'm putting on some hot glue onto my end of the bullet, and now I am adding on my 5x3 magnet onto the bullet. So now I'm adding on some super glue onto the magnet and the bullet, and I'm adding on the paper piece number 12 onto the bullet and the magnet, and I'm adding on the paper to the magnet so that way the magnet doesn't fall off. So now I'm going to be adding on a thin strip of paper onto the end of the bullet. This is because I am going to be adding on a bigger magnet later on. So now, with the hot glue, I am going to be gluing on this 8x5mm magnet. So now, I am going to be gluing a piece of paper onto the 8x5 magnet. So before we add the spring onto the bullet, we're going to add on the string. So basically what you need to do is add on a 5x3 magnet to the back of the 5x3 magnets on the bullet. And now you would want to add some hot glue on the back of the 5x3 magnet. And then you can add on a string to the web shooter. Make sure you don't burn yourself when you're gluing on the string to the bullet. So now, once the hot glue has dried, you can remove the magnet with the string on it from the bullet. So now you can add the spring onto the bullet. So right here, I have added a rubber band, and that will help me pull down the popsicle stick piece when I'm ready to shoot the bullet.
So now I have added in 2 pieces of foam. So what the foam is basically for is basically meant to block the web cartridge in order it from going in too far. So now I'm going to make this wristband piece. And basically what this piece is that it's basically going to help me wear the web shooter on my arm. So basically you want to get a really good length that fits your arm. So basically with this piece of duct tape, I'm basically going to fold it like this to make sure that the wristband's not too big once I put it in the slots on the part that we're going to slide this in through. So now I have this black piece that I have cleaned out with poster board, and I have attached that wristband piece through these slots that I have cleaned out. So now I have added some 5x3 magnets onto the wristband, and basically that will help me wear the wristband when I'm ready to put on the web shooter. So now I am gluing the wrist piece onto the back of the web shooter. So now I have the wristband piece glued on. So now we are working on the details of the web shooter. So first we're going to be using this really odd shaped piece that I painted red in advance, because it's always easier just to paint this pieces in advance. And basically what I did was I scored the poster board with my craft knife to get all of these clean folds. And this piece goes right here. So here is that odd shaped piece once it's glued on. So now I have this foam piece right here, and basically I have cleaned off a part of it right here. Basically I'm going to be gluing it right here where that gap is, and basically it's going to be like that. So here is that white foam piece once it's glued on. So basically there is another side that I have glued on. And now I just painted those 2 foam pieces red. So now it's time to add on some more detail to the web shooter. Now I'm gluing this part right here. So now I have this small piece right here, and that goes right here. In case you didn't know, I use craft foam for these 2 pieces because that's much easier, and it also doesn't allow me to paint that much for 2 small pieces. Okay, so now I'm adding more of the details onto the web shooter.
Another chance, loving you is all I wanted. I'm wide open for a love affair, girl, when you're looking like that.
Okay, so now I am adding this piece right here. Now I have added the other silver piece on. Now I have painted the sides silver. So now I am making the web cartridge. So the web cartridge is a box that will basically store up all of your string before you're ready to shoot it. So for the web cartridge, I'm just going to be using some craft foam and poster board. So basically, I have made 2 of those pieces. This red piece right here wraps around right here to hold both pieces together. And plus, it'll keep enough room for you to hold the web. So basically, if you have string ready and you're ready to shoot, you can basically just shoot. So now we are all finished. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys learned something on how to make this web shooter. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments down below. And please like and subscribe, and check out my web shooter playlist. That's in the link in the description box below, and it'll be on screen.